inflation.
That certainly was
They hate
part of it.
inflation, they hate riots, and they hate black women. They hate trans people.
Oh, God, John, we're not
Dude,
gonna...
they just spent hundreds of millions of dollars
don't hate
demonizing
black
trans people. And that's disgusting.
Yeah,
That
we
is-
shouldn't talk.
We're about to dive into one of the strangest podcast moments you'll ever witness. Bill Maher, sitting across from Jon Cryer on Club Random. Cryer, a proudly woke Hollywood throwback, showed up to Maher's show and delivered what might be the most unhinged performance of his career. Before this, I barely knew who Jon Cryer was, and honestly, after watching this, I kind of wish it had stayed that way. The man not only heaps praise on Bill Maher as if he's some moral authority of American life, but he does it with a straight face. Yes, that Bill Maher, the guy who's proudly unmarried, smokes weed like it's a full-time job, and has no apparent interest in family life, is now being treated like a guiding light. Seriously, but what really makes this moment gold is Maher's reaction. He doesn't just push back. He practically roasts Cryer right there on his own podcast. And what happens next? It's pure chaos. Let's roll the clip.
But I don't know. Sometimes people say things that trigger me. And of course, we just had the election, and I feel like my conscience is very clear. I warned everybody about Trump, and then I warned them about what would get him reelected, which was stupid wokeness, which is what got him reelected. So I feel my conscience is very clear that I told you, and I told you, and I told you, and I lost fans for it. You know, lots of the super woke that like I'm not woke enough. Yeah, but like I think I had it right. Like that kind of stuff is what lost the election for the Democrats. It's in all.
Maybe part of it. I don't know. I think a lot.
They have polling on it.
Well, I think it's inflation. I think Americans hate inflation.
That certainly was
They hate
part
inflation,
of it.
they hate riots, and they hate black women.
They don't
and they hate trans people.
Oh God, John, we're not
Dude,
gonna.
they just spent hundreds of millions
They
of dollars
don't hate
demonizing
black
trans people. And that's disgusting.
Yeah,
That
we shouldn't talk politics.
Okay, we shouldn't.
I
We
mean,
shouldn't. Great. We don't have to.
And this, you know, I mean, I have this kind of relationship with people on the right also who like, yeah, it's just going to take so long to even have this discussion. Mm-hmm. And I want, just like I would like to deprogram them, I feel like there's things that don't get in your bubble on the left that I would love to deprogram, but it's probably not the place to.
Just listen to Jon Cryer's nervous laughter. In this clip, it tells you everything you need to know. This man genuinely believes that Donald Trump was elected not because of inflation, rising crime, or foreign policy blunders, but because Americans supposedly hate black women and transgender people. Yes, seriously. Normally, I assume people like Bill Maher or David Pakman don't actually believe half the nonsense they say. They're just feeding their audience. But Cryer, he's different. He's not acting. He fully buys into this worldview. And the result is so uncomfortable that even Maher, who's no conservative darling, basically checks out mid-conversation. He doesn't argue, he doesn't push back, he just gives off the vibe of, this is so far off the rails, it's not even worth engaging. And honestly, he's right. You can't argue someone out of a belief they didn't reason themselves into in the first place. This is what happens when someone gets stuck in a woke bubble with no way out.
If that's how you want to spend your leisure hours.
No, I mean,
deprogramming Ducky. There's a spin-off. There's a spin-off. But I feel like the immigration argument gets sidetracked because people just assume that there's a lot of generalizations about immigrants that dehumanize them and are untrue. You are mad that they let that many immigrants in because you think they increase crime? What? Because they don't. Because they increase they decrease wages? Well, no, they don't. there's a whole bunch of arguments that anti-immigration people make, and you say, okay, Democrats left them
I'm not an anti-immigration people.
Okay, so you say,
what I said was,
well, wait a minute, wait a minute.
Okay.
So you're the one saying Democrats are letting in immigrants, and they punted it. Okay, you're absolutely right. Immigrants up during those years.
Well, asylum. They changed the definition of asylum, and they immediately reversed Trump's like stay in Mexico or wait in Mexico or something. He had a different
chill
policy.
out in Mexico.
I mean, chill out in
Mexico.
Yes.
Just fucking chill, man. Wait there.
And we were still, letting in, as we should. We are a nation of immigrants, and we need immigrants.
There you go.
But most Americans felt, including lots of Democrats and people of color, and he won the Latino vote by half. Come on, man. Like, at a certain point, everybody was around the idea that, okay, immigration, fine, but it has to be somewhat orderly, and not anyone.
Yes, and again,
and asylum had a certain specific meaning, which went up in the air. They overcorrected.
You could be right. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I also feel like obviously, you can say Democrats took too long to address it, but then they did, and Trump, of course, killed it. So he doesn't care about that. And again, you've been outspoken.
That's true too.
And I appreciate that, by the way, for you that you were being outspoken. I appreciate that you lost fans. They needed more free time. It's better that they don't watch your show.
It actually is.
I'm sorry?
It actually is, because they're here's how.
I can't stop cringing at Jon Cryer's nervous laughter. It's the type that awkward chuckle people use when they realize they sound completely unhinged, but try to play it off like everything's fine. That's exactly what's happening here. Cryer is rambling nonsense, while Bill Maher just sits there, visibly stunned. You can practically see Maher thinking, is this guy really saying this right now? And keep in mind, Maher's no stranger. Two wild opinions, but here he's got two options. Push back and derail the entire show, or smile politely and steer the conversation elsewhere. Honestly, I don't blame him. We've all been in that situation. Someone goes on a delusional rant, and you're left deciding whether to confront the crazy or just let it ride to avoid a scene. Maher chooses the latter. But Cryer's take is so disconnected from reality that even staying silent feels like a statement in itself. And now, we've got to unpack this train wreck. So let's dive deeper into the madness.
It used to be the conservatives, the Jerry Falwell types, who you would do a stick-up-their-ass joke about. Now it's the woke. They're the ones with the stick-up-their-ass. They're the ones who don't have a sense of humor. They're the ones who are too sensitive. They're the ones, marching for Hamas, doing things like that.
Again, I think conflating people marching for, to not have Israelis, the IDF carpet bombing is different than marching for Hamas. And yes, Hamas is a terrorist organization. They're a mafia organization. I do not support them in any way. Again, yes, I know they are going to be saying, "Wow, Ducky is not on our side. This is crushing to our movement. We've lost Ducky." But my point being conflating those two, and obviously there are outrages on the right and there are outrages on the left, and the right wing media ecosystem is just a constant outrage engine, and constant, and that is very pernicious to America, to having a nation.
I was only watching MSNBC. Not as bad. I mean, the right wing is definitely more dangerous because they don't believe in conceding elections.
Yes,
we are already past what I called, even before he won the first time, a slow-moving.
It's wild that we still have to talk about this. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I wish January 6th never happened. It handed the left a bottomless supply of political ammo. Now you've got people like Bill Maher running with the narrative that the right doesn't believe in conceding elections, which makes zero sense. Let's be real. Trump left office. Did he throw a fit on the way out? Absolutely. But he didn't lock the doors or chain himself to the Resolute desk. He didn't have to be dragged out in cuffs. That is, conceding, whether he said the actual words or not. But Maher, like so many others, acts like Trump barricaded himself in the Oval Office with a MAGA flag and a pile of Big Macs. And the best part. People like Jon Cryer sit there and feed that narrative with a straight face. Like it's gospel. So here's the question. Should Maher have shut him down harder? Should he have kicked him off Club Random entirely? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because that exchange was something else.